Okay, section 8.1 is our first lesson in the unit on finance. And we're going to look at some preliminary review about percentages, and then we will look at solving percent problems using a proportion technique, and finally percent of increase or decrease in the cost of something. So we start out with some information that's actually from your textbook, and you could find this in your ebook. You can also find these summarized on the handouts tab under finance. All right, to change a fraction to a percent, you're going to divide the numerator by the denominator and then multiply what you get by 100. And what this does is it moves the decimal 2 places to the right. So you're really going to change the fraction to a decimal and then the decimal to a percent. If you have a decimal, it's the last 2 steps of that. You're going to move the decimal point 2 places to the right, add a percent sign, and it becomes a percent. When we change a percent to a decimal, you're going to move the decimal 2 places to the left and remove the percent sign. Now here is a quick, easy way to remember which way to move the decimal point. If you are turning something into a percent, there's an R in the word percent, so you go to the right. If you're changing something into a decimal, there's an L in there, so you move to the left. Now that does not explain the mathematics of what's going on, but it does help people remember it. All right, let's get in here and do some problems. Number 1, express the given fraction as a percent. So I take 1, I divide it by 10. That gives me, you grab a calculator, 0.1. Now it's a decimal, I need to change it to a percent. Move the decimal point 2 places to the right, add a 0. That will be 10%. The percent sign's already given in my math lab, so you just type in the 10, but if you were writing it, you would have to write the percent sign. The next one, fraction to a percent. I'm going to take 7 and divide it by 40. I can do that with my calculator. Right, and I actually already have it on the screen. 7 divided by 40, and I get 0.175. 0.175. Move the decimal 2 places to the right, and it becomes 17.5%. Next one. I'm writing a decimal as a percent, so I have 2.63%, move it 2 places to the right, and I get 263%. Now I have a percent and I want to change it to a decimal. So if I have 26%, to change it to a decimal, I pick up the existing decimal point. If you don't see one, it's certainly on the right. Move it 2 places to the left, and this becomes 0.26. Next one, percent as a decimal again, 42.9%. Change it to a decimal, pick up the existing decimal point, move it 2 to the left, 0.429. Next, 117%. Pick up the existing decimal point, move it 1, 2 to the left, that is 1.17. And finally, 2%. Pick up the existing decimal point, move it 1, 2 places to the left, add in a 0. It is 0.02. You can put in the 0 in front of that if you want. All right, the next kind of problems, we're changing gears a little bit. We're going to take a look at the solving percent questions, and this is the percent proportion. This is my method. It's not the method you're going to find in the book. In the book, they usually say A over B equals percent over 100. And it is difficult to explain which number is the amount and which number is the base, but the words is and of are always in the little questions. All right, we'll look at this shortcut here in a few minutes. All right, it starts out on number 8. It says use the percent formula, and I'm getting rid of all that because I don't do it that way. What is 7% of 900? It says what is, that means is unknown, 7%, that's your percent number, of 900, that means 900 is the of number. So if my formula is over of equals percent over 100, the is number is unknown, the of number is 900, equals 7 over 100. To solve this, I'm going to use my proportion technique, which says do the cross product that you can. Step 1, I have 900 times 7 is 6,300. Step 2, take that 6,300, divide it by the number you haven't used yet, which is 100 in this problem. My answer is 63. So, whoops, didn't mean to make it that small. So 7% of 900 is 63. Okay, let's do this next one. Let me see if I can get a little bit more room. Whoops. There we go. And I sure didn't mean to put that big black line there. All right, gone. All right, once again, I'm going to ignore these instructions. Can I do it my way? And it says 3 is 60% of what? So that's going to be your x. So I start with is over of equals percent over 100. The is number, 3 is of what? That means that's your x. 60 is the percent, and it's always over 100. Well, I keep doing that. Trying to simply get a little bit more room. All right. So, cross product. That wasn't very good. All right. Put back my 3 is question mark is 60% of what? So, cross product, 3 times 100 is 300. Step 2, take 300, divide it by 60. I can do that one in my head. It goes in there 5 times. So 3 is 60% of 5. Okay, hopefully I can do this right this time. Nope. There we go. All right, next one. Get rid of that instruction because I want to use the percent proportion. It is over of equals percent over 100. 25%, okay, there's my percent number, of what? That means I don't know the of number, is 27.5. So the is 27.5. The of, unknown. The percent, 25, and it's over 100. All right, you do the cross product where you have two numbers. So I have 27.5 times 100 is 2750. Step 2, 2750. Oops. Divided by 25. All right, calculator. Come on, calculator. All right. 2750 divided by 25 is 110. So 25% of 110 is 27.5. All right, last one of those. Remove this. All right. Once again, I use the percent proportion. Is over of equals percent over 100. 0.8 is question mark percent of 2.5. The is 0.8. The of 2.5. The percent unknown, and it's over 100. Okay, step 1, 0.8 times 100, that's 80. Step 2, 80 divided by 2.5. Get that calculator back out. Clear. 80 divided by 2.5 is 32. So it's this teeny number is 32% of this also small number. All right, let's see what's coming up next. Now, a long time ago in the notes, way up here, where did it go? There it is. It says, remember the shortcut for finding the percent of a number. Now, you can do it, you're looking for the is number, but the shortcut is change the percent to a decimal and multiply, and I will show you in this next question. Right, it says, suppose that the local sales tax rate is 4% and you purchase a car for $13,600. How much tax is paid? Now, if you did the is over of percent over 100, what you're doing is saying you are saying what is, here's your of number, 4 in the percent. So what is, that's your unknown, 4% of that big number. Okay, I will multiply here. I have 13,600 times 4. $54,400. Step 2, take 54,400 and divide it by 100, and that's going to give me $544. And that's a good bit of money to pay for tax. All right, we have to do a little bit more with that. Now it says, that's your tax, $544. And by the way, our tax rate is higher than that, and most new cars cost a good bit more than that. So you really spend a lot of money in tax. Now it says, what's the total cost? So the total cost will be the $13,600 plus the tax, and I'll do that off screen, and I get $14,144. So that's my total cost. Now, if you're buying a car, there's actually more than just sales tax. There's title fee. There's all kinds of fees. So the number that you see on the price tag is not necessarily the number that you pay. All right, let's look at the very end of, well, I'm sorry, there is one more that's similar to that. It says, an exercise machine with an original price of $670 is on sale at 13% off. What is the discount amount? So if I were going to say this again, I would say, what is 13% of 670? So this time, instead of doing is and of like I did in the previous problem, I'm going to do the shortcut. This only works when you're looking for the is number. You take the percent, you change it to its decimal form, 12.13, and you multiply 0.13 times the cost, which was $670. And that's going to give me $87.10. I can do that multiplication. I'm just going to do it off screen. I don't think you need to see me do it with the calculator. All right, that's the discount. That's how much they're going to take off. So then your sale price is the original price. Because it's on sale, they're subtracting a certain amount. And we get $582.90. Of course, then they're going to add sales tax back on, but you should still come out a whole lot better. All right, so this is your shortcut. You just change the percent to a decimal and multiply. Up here, if you want to try it, you would change 4% to a decimal. It would be 0.04. You multiply that by 13,600. That's a 0. And you will still get the 544. So it is faster when you're looking just for the is number to change the percent to a decimal and multiply. All right, the last part of our lesson is on percent of increase or decrease. Now, it works the same way whether you are increasing or decreasing. Okay, what you do is you find the fraction for the percent of increase or the percent of decrease. First, you find a fraction, and then you change the fraction to a percent. Okay, now how do you find the fraction? You take the amount of increase or the amount of decrease and divide it by, and this is important, the original amount. The original. Okay, so let me move this just a little bit. All right, it says, in 2004, the number of jobs in thousands was 68. In 2014, it was 170. So it's obvious that there is an increase. All right, now the amount of increase is the big one minus the little one, 170 minus 68. And that gives me, oops, 170 minus 68, 102. Now remember our formula. The formula says the amount of increase over the original amount. Was 68. So it is 102 over 68, which is 1.5. Now we need to change that into a percent. That means 1, 2, That is 150%. So remember the formula. It is amount of increase over original. Okay. When you get it, you've got a fraction. You change the fraction into a percent. How do you do that? You divide and move the decimal 2 places. All right, last one. A sofa regularly sells for $610. So the original price is $610. The sale price is $488. Find the percent of decrease. Okay, so the percent of decrease is going to be the amount of decrease divided by the original. All right, the decrease. The decrease, we're going to take 610 and subtract 488, and then we're going to divide that by the original, which was 610. And I'm sorry, sometimes my zeros end up looking like sixes. So we have 610 minus 488. Whoops. That is 122 over 610. Now I want to divide it by 610. You notice that it just pulled, when I hit divided by, it pulled the most previous answer and said, oh, you want to divide that by 610, and I do. That gives me 0.2. Now it needs to be changed to a percent, 1, 2, that is 20%. This is a decrease. You're just going to have to use your common sense about things going down or things going up. Okay, I hope that helps. Work on the first lesson.